Good morning, everybody. Unfortunately, Vince has conflicts today and couldn't make it in, so this team is going to make this happen for everybody. What's that? We're going to, whatever. Let's watch our motivational video. Lights? Jay, lights? Lights, Jay.
One time. And actually now something I'm impacting the next thing on the only thing I wish for people is that.
All right, a message that was work hard and you'll accomplish stuff. Breakfast today is being provided by Home Standards Inspection Services. It's right out there. Please grab some if you want to. Maybe not right now. Rich Brown's going to come up and talk about the Prosperity Team and some new programs or renewed programs. Come on, everybody.
I was asked to introduce our team. So yesterday in a manager's meeting, it was very abundant to me that not everybody in here may know who we are. So this is our Prosperity Lending Team. And we'll just go from, I guess, myself on down. My name is Rich Brown. I'm the branch manager for Prosperity for the state of Nebraska. And my job is to partner with you to do loans, to help your customers across the finish line. That's really it. I mean, you know, help grow business, retain business, cultivate business over time. We got a couple programs we'll talk about here in just a second. So I'll pass the mic off to Allison Lisi.
Hi, everyone. I'm Allison Lisi, and I office on the third floor up here in Village Point, serving you guys and your buyers. So always encourage your buyers. Can you hear me now? Yeah. Okay, my voice carries, so I usually don't need a microphone. But yeah, up on the third floor with myself and my assistant. I've been here in and out of the building for about the last 10 years. We have all kinds of programs, and I always encourage buyers to get with us to do a consultation so we can educate them on what's going on in the market with the rates and go over their specific scenario to get them ready to go out and you guys get them into a home.
Hi, everyone. I'm John Murray. I actually worked under Allison and Rich, both prior to being on my own for the last about 2 years. You'll catch me upstairs in the third floor as well, and in Lincoln about once a week as well. So if you ever have questions, feel free to text me, call me anytime.
Hi, I'm Deanna Weatherford. I've been with Prosperity for about 6 months, but I've been in the business since 2003. I sit at the Sarpy branch. I'm always available. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out, call, text. I usually respond right away.
Hey, everybody, Riley Sidlick. I'm officed out of the Regency office, spent some time here, also spent some time in the Sarpy County office. Been with Prosperity for coming up on 3 years and always here to help out with whatever anybody needs.
There you go. There's our lending team. Hey, so, yeah, thanks. So one thing I'll say, when we recruit people in to be part of this team, they have to make a true commitment. And what I mean by true commitment, nights and weekends. So if they're not available nights and weekends, then we're not a good partner for you. So everybody on this team knows that your phone number has to be in their phone. If it rings, they answer or text you back right away. That's the sacrifice that they have to be part of this team. Okay. Some folks who work at a bank or credit union or other places like that, they may shut their phone off at 5 o'clock, right? Or Rocket, or trying to get a hold of somebody on the weekend. It's not what we do. We are here to partner with you to help your customers across the finish line. So anyway, this is our team. Couple things I want to bring up as far as just kind of re-rolling. You know, sometimes if you don't talk about it all the time, it gets forgotten. So we have a second opinion that we like to do for our customers. So basically it's $1,000 meter beat. So you have a customer that comes in, they're going to go buy a house. They are pre-approved with another lender. We would like to compete for that deal. You know, so we'd like the introduction, be able to reach out to them and see if we can get them a better deal. If we can't get them a better deal, we'll give them $1,000 in a story. Is that a good program? Bring value to your customer? Yeah, good. Rate rollback is a new product that we kind of brought out because interest rates have been kind of all over the place, right? Everybody's talking interest rate. We will do a 1-year lender paid buy down for the customer. It'll buy their rate down 1% for that year. Okay, so that's a new product that's out. Something that maybe some of your customers may be interested in if they think rates are going to go down over the next year. You know, maybe they want to do that and move forward. So it's not a bad program. Yep, we still have the 2-1 buy down. That's a seller paid buy down. Refine your rate is another program that we have coming out, or that is out. So if a customer closes between or applies with us between like the end of the year and June 30th, we will pay the lender fees on a refinance up until 2025 if rates improve and they refinance. So a lot of folks are doing that same kind of stuff to promote their product, but just want you to know we got the same stuff going on. And then one thing that I don't think you get from other lenders is a post-closing journey for your closed customers. So your customer closes, right? They get into their house, they're enjoying their house. Hopefully you don't hear about anything that goes wrong with the house, right? But what will happen on our end is we will co-market you with that customer for 5 years. And we'll hit that customer 7 times a year for 5 years. You'll get email notification. They'll get email notification. So it's kind of, you never know when the right time to hit somebody up in marketing is, right? Is you just got to be consistently in front of them all the time. So that's just one of the added services that we provide free of charge to you to promote you and your business. Yeah.
Find your rate available to anyone that takes the loan out with you, or do they typically have to get that loan when they're doing it? Like, is it a specific loan, or do you guys offer that refine your rate?
Yeah, it's on purchases. Yep. So between now and June 30th, they apply. Maybe it'll get extended, maybe it won't. So are interest rates of mind anybody in here? Are they topical to your clients? Which way are interest rates going? Hands up if you think they're going up. Oh, I need to see a lot more hands than that. Hands up if you think they're going down. Yeah, I guess, yeah, I don't know, right? Who knows? You're probably, 30-year. Yeah. If you're clueless, raise your hand. Yeah. So, yeah, 30-year fixed rates are probably running between 6.5% and 7% right now. I think you're going to continue to see interest rates go up. The Fed has absolutely no reason to reduce rates right now. Unemployment's at an all-time low. We had surprising upside inflationary numbers last week. corporate earnings, although a little bit stressed and their forward guidance isn't great. I don't think the Fed cares. I think they're going to continue to tighten rates. Period. There's no reason. It's the only lever they can pull if the economy goes bad. So why would they reduce them now when the economy is going well? GDP is doing just fine. I mean, there's no data that tells us it's going to go down just yet. So that's kind of what we're up against. First time home buyer products, if you haven't heard, NIFA, they up their income limit to about 145,000. 145,000 now to get a first and second mortgage, which will allow that customer to get into a house with as little as $1,000 out of their pocket.
And that's for repeat buyers too. They
Mhm.
don't have to be a first-time homebuyer.
That's correct. So there's a lot of better first-time home buyer product out there now, or expanded than what it was last year. So, gang, any questions? Yeah, Jay. Yeah, we'll do the seller guarantee. So if you don't know what the seller guarantee is, you send us a buyer, right? You want to get them pre-approved. Market is extremely still fast in that sub 300,000 mark place, right? So we take them through a complete pre-approval, meaning we take them all the way through underwriting. Might take us a couple days to get that done. But at the end of that, we'll issue a seller a guarantee for $10,000. So when your offer gets submitted into the seller, we're going to give you a certificate to give that listing agent. That's going to say on there, we guarantee you $10,000 if we don't close this on time. And that the hope is that will make your offer stand out over another one that's of similar, price range or similar offer amount. So it's we're trying to do things that'll make your stuff stand out so you don't have to show 55 houses to sell one. So yeah. Income limits went up to 145,000 on NIFA. Mhm. Yep.
So why would them, like, you're making 145 good money, like, why would you go to NIFA? If you just don't have the money?
Correct.
And I did favor?
Yep. Correct.
The first,
You might, yeah, there could be a number of reasons. It's three.
There's a second mortgage, 5% of the purchase price. And that 5% is designed to go solely towards your closing costs and your down payment. So it significantly reduces their out-of-pocket costs.
Did you pick that up? Yeah, so
There's a program there's all different types of NIFA programs. And so there's a program with a first and second mortgage that they refer to as the Home Buyers Assistant Program. The HUBA is what they call the second. And that second mortgage is 5% of the purchase price. And that's at a really low interest rate of only 1%. And that second mortgage it's designed to go directly towards their down payment and their closing costs to help reduce the money that they have to bring to closing. So as Rich mentioned, they can come in with as little as $1,000 down.
it's a great way to get new home buyers in. There's no negative to the seller. Probably to get them across the finish line with as little as $1,000 out of their pocket, though, the sellers were going to have to participate in some cost. So if the first mortgage amount is 97% of the purchase price and the second mortgage amount is 5%, you're at 102% of the purchase price. That extra 2% is probably not enough to get them across the finish line. So the total purchase price on a NIFA deal can be $349,000. It can't be $349,001, can't be $349,002, has to be $349,000 or less.
Actually, on the Welcome Home Program, they've increased it to $427,000, I believe, $427,000.
That's Nebraska only.
Yeah, NIFA is Nebraska Investment Finance Support.
Other questions, gang?
that paid off at a different rate than a 30-year?
It is. It's a 1% interest rate over a 10-year term. Yep. It's a great first time home buyer or home buyer product. And we will look at that. Typically first, you will not see like Rocket Mortgage. They will not offer it. They're not approved. You will see a number of brokers here in town that are not approved. to do NIFA. And most organizations don't like to do it because there's no money in it. There's no money to the lender. There's no revenue in the deal back to the lender. So it's a costly program. But I can tell you, it's, you know, in a rising interest rate market, it is our way to keep our first-time home buyers going. So, in my opinion, and we're seeing more and more of it.
Yeah, I don't think credit unions offer it either. And another benefit, you know, a lot of people, you know, trying to keep their out-of-pocket costs getting in for first-time home buyers. We do waive the underwriting fee on NIFA loans and VA loans. So there's additional savings there as well.
Good enough.
We good? Thank you, guys. Thank you
Thanks,
for your
Dr.
support.
Carrie's gonna come up and talk about awards and sales convention,
Talk about whatever you guys want to.
or whatever you want. Floor is yours.
Anybody have any ideas? What should we talk about? So just a reminder, we have our awards breakfast 2 weeks from today at A View West Shores. So same place we had our Christmas party, same place we were the last probably 2 years for awards breakfast. So see you there on Tuesday, 8:30. Breakfast starts at 8:30. This awards presentation will start at 9. And then we have our sales convention. Today and tomorrow are big days for me trying to get all of our roster cleaned up and ready to go. We have about 145 of us set to go to Las Vegas. It's March 26th through the 28th. And one big thing, if you're signed up for convention, you might see emails coming out about reserved seating for the Sunshine Kids benefit. You don't need to purchase those tickets because we're going to do that for you. It'll be a reserved spot. You won't have one specific seat the entire time, but we will have a group of seats all together. We'll pay for the number of seats we need to have everybody sit together at general session, both Monday morning, Tuesday morning, and for the concert Tuesday night. So if you have any questions about anything convention related, awards, any of that stuff, feel free to reach out to me. While we're in Vegas that Sunday night, we're going to have a get together at Chayo, the Mexican restaurant on the Link Promenade. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's a second story Mexican restaurant. It's got an outdoor patio up on the second floor. It's kind of fun to people watch and can see people, what is that, zip lining down the promenade towards the high roller. And it'll just be a fun little kickoff party for us to get things started right in Vegas. Not that we really need help with that, but so that's kind of all I got for now.
Carol,
Is there
Felici,
anything else you want? Oh, yeah, let's talk about that.
talk about that.
Voting for the Outstanding Ambassador Award. If you haven't done that today, it's your last chance to go in and cast your vote. So it's the highest honor around here. The award is named after Carol Lisi. It's one of the founders of the company. So close to our hearts, and it's definitely the highest honor here. So make sure you cast your vote. Anybody have any questions? Okay, yeah. So at convention, we are going to have, I'm going to say about 10 classes or so each day that are going to be set aside as broker approved. It's your CE. It's not going to count as your R courses, but just your broker approved or commission approved training is the proper terminology. And so general sessions both days. If you get there at 9 when it starts and you're there for the entire time, you'll get 2 hours of CE credit for each day. And then also the breakout sessions in the afternoon. Our management team has picked out a couple classes they think would be beneficial for you, and make sure, watch your emails. We'll send out more detail about that soon, but we have to wrap that up here in the next day or two, right? Yeah, lots of fun things to do. So that's all I got for now.
All right.
Sorry, I keep trying to slip away.
Give me that mic though.
Okay.
I know you want it. Jay's gonna come up and talk about a top agent program.
All right. So since Vince was trying to have more increased sales meetings, kind of like every other week or something like that. One of the things I thought we did last year, and I thought it worked pretty well, is we're going to bring back, we call it Ambassador Academy. That's kind of our training program, but our top agent series. So in the fall, we always have people, you know, on our 6-week program, have a top agent come in and speak. But again, what we've been trying to do now is every Tuesday that we don't actually have a sales meeting, we'll bring in a top agent to talk about what they're doing to build their business right now in this market. So that's going to be kicking off. It's been in Monday emails, and I think in some events it's Friday emails. So next Tuesday, since we don't have a sales meeting, we're going to kick it off with Jessica Dubinsky. So from 9 to 10. So it'll be just like our sales meeting. We'll probably even try to maybe see if we can get some food sponsors and stuff like that in. So we will put that out. Our link to register, I wanted people to register. For some reason, that software is not working. So just show up, or I'm going to try to send out so we make sure we have enough seating for everybody. This will be in person only. So if you can't make it, we will record everything and then put it on A and B agent tools. But we start off on the 28th, and then on March 14th, we have Diane Hughes. April 11th, we have Shannon Salem. And then on April 25th, we'll have Stacy Mueller. So some of these people haven't spoken before, but again, a great chance just to come in, pick their brain. It's kind of an open format. So, you know, if you have questions directly to them, just come, learn, see if you can pick something that you can do and implement in this market right now to do better. The other thing too, we weren't able to get that Ninja program started. We just didn't have enough traction to get 50 people. We may try to revisit that for the fall or winter. But Gary Carpenter, who has a training program that we've had, I've heard a lot of success from agents that have taken like this production program. We're working with him to maybe do a kickoff event in end of March. And we'll have like a 6-week course that you can participate in that will be a lot of accountability, tracking numbers, role playing, things like that. So be on the lookout for signing up for that for kind of a kickoff event. There will be a cost to it, but we're trying to get a reduced cost for the amount of people that we get involved in that. But we don't have to have like a 50 people minimum to do that since he's here in town. Outside of that, if there's anything that you guys need for training, Vince sends me stuff all the time. Like when he goes to Rethink Council, like, hey, look into this software, or what's this? We're Shelly, Mark, myself, I love technology, things like that. So if there's anything that you guys are doing that you'd love to share with our, you know, anybody here, we'll record a video, look into it, and also put it on the A&B agent tools. And if you've never been on the A&B agent tools, we've got like 400 plus different articles, videos, different things that we've been building out the last couple of years to just help you guys in your business. So, and if there's something that we can do to improve it, we're just doing the best we can for the 3 of us that are running it. But I'll be happy to look into anything or record anything and take that out to you guys to help you guys build your business. So if you guys had any questions? Okay.
Excellent. Heather?
Good morning, everybody. So I am the one that gets to give you the market update that we have going on right now. We've been meeting with masterminds this last week, and so we are seeing a pickup in the activity out there for the houses under 3 1/4. So you're now seeing multiple offers again. You're seeing waiving of inspections. You're seeing these buyers getting a little discouraged. So you just need to make sure you're staying consistent with your buyers, making sure that you guys are protecting them, letting them know what's going on in the marketplace, because that market again is kind of picked up because of the low inventory. We're seeing between the 450 and 850, that's kind of slowing down unless the house is in perfect shape. We are telling you to make sure your sellers are preparing their houses properly, staging them, photography, making sure they get the houses perfectly, show ready so that they have a better chance of getting top dollar for their houses. But with that being said, those first time home sellers in that $300 price range and below are getting top dollar for their houses and able to negotiate more on their second purchase. So that is kind of a win-win for those buyers out there. Just making sure you're keeping them up to date with what's going on. I did number polls this morning, so they have changed from last week. I pulled new construction and existing homes in Douglas and Sarpy County. That was 1,142 houses. Out of that, 42 of them are still showing active but pending in the public remarks. 86 of them are in no-show status, and that leaves us 1,014 showable and sellable houses in Douglas and Sarpy County. I do the same poll for our existing houses. That gives us 365. 27 of them are sitting in pending status, but showing active. And then that gives us 338 houses. Out of that, 84 of them are in no-show status, So for showable, sellable, existing homes in Douglas and Sarpy County, we are down to 254 houses. Now, this is up from last year at this time. I think we're about 170 last year at this time. So the numbers are up, but they're definitely down compared to where we need to be. We're currently listening to Mark Stark video in our masterminds. Heidi sells Heidi Homes or Heidi Sweet Homes or something like that. And then Andrew Undrum also. And what Mark Stark says that I think all of us need to take into account that maybe there's only 254 houses on the market, but there's still a lot of inventory out there. So you need to get outside the box and you need to go out and maybe walk neighborhoods, knock doors, check Zillow for sale by owners, make phone calls, do the things that your buyers are going to appreciate that you're going to do to make their experience better and find them a house that most agents don't want to have to do. So that's all I've got for the market update. Woo! I talked super fast. What's that? Oh, CRI certificate. We did have one of our agents just receive the CRI certificate. So I wanted to say congratulations to Lynette Doyle. She received that. I gave her the certificate last week, but she was the one that just achieved that certificate. So congratulations.
All right. So I wanted to take us through, we went through our Nebraska audit with the Real Estate Commission, which is always enjoyable. Good times. A lot of the mistakes we're making, we consistently make these mistakes. It's on almost every report. Things that you'll always see, not always, but things that we get flagged on a lot is that if you have equity in the property and you're the agent, you need to disclose that you have equity in the property. That needs to be written in the contract. So it has to be fully disclosed that you have equity in that property. And so that's one thing that we got caught on a couple of times. So it's happening more than just randomly, unfortunately. Well, so there's two rules. So there's Nebraska Real Estate Commission rules and regulations that say all you have to do is disclose if you have equity. If you are a member of the National Association of Realtors, which we all are, then there's a certain other disclosure that you have to make for family. That if you are related to family in some way that are selling the property, you need to disclose that too. And so the Real Estate Commission doesn't care about that. They only care about your own equity. But to comply with also the realtor bylaws and everything else, you have to disclose if you are related to it. And it's basically brother, sister, husband, cousin, those kind of rules. Mother, father, those are what they limit it to. And so those are things that you'd have to disclose. And that's under kind of our ethics bylaws as realtors. Other things that we found on the audit is cost sheets. You got to do cost sheets. If it's new construction, you still have to do a cost sheet. You have to have that put in the file, signed, and it's supposed to be done as soon as possible, as soon as you can reasonably ascertain the cost, and generally at the time they enter into the contract. They're supposed to have a cost sheet that is signed by them. If they refuse to sign it, and that happens, mark in there, presented, refuse to sign. And remember, it's an estimate. You're doing your best to try to get them the numbers that they need. I understand it can't be 100%. That's why it's an estimate. Just do your best. It's important to get that signed and in the file. Has to be in the file because if they don't see it, they flag it. Okay, on the agency disclosure, if you've got someone who's a customer, you'll check that they're a customer, right? Page 1. Don't fill out page 2 where you say, I am your agent, because you're not their agent. They are a customer. So if you write on the second page, first number 1 paragraph, your agents are, they don't have an agent. So do not fill in that part because it creates an issue where they could say later on, well, I thought you were my agent because you wrote yourself in here as the agent. Just make sure when and read the agency disclosure. Read it. Take the time. Please remember what you are. You either represent the buyer or the seller or both. And then none. That's the other option, which is customer. Remember, you also have to have a client. You can't do transactional business in Nebraska. You can't have both sides as customers. So either you represent the buyer or the seller. You have to represent one or the other. You can't represent none. That just doesn't work in Nebraska. We get flagged for that every once in a while too. People go, oh, I'll just do the paperwork for $1,000. Like an agency disclosure that says they're customers, both sides. Can't do that. That works in Miami, doesn't work here. You want to do that stuff, move to Miami, bring me with you. Seller's property disclosure. Again, seller's property disclosure is supposed to be presented to them before they sign the purchase agreement. They're not supposed to sign it 2 days later. It was supposed to be put to them so they could review it before they entered into the contract to buy the property. And so we had many examples of people signing it 2 days later, 3 days later. That's too late. It's basically ineffective at that point from the real estate commission. They don't care. And, you know, they said, well, we see these disclosures that were signed 2 weeks after closing. You know, that doesn't, yeah, we get it. We get it. Doesn't matter. We're trying to get you guys in the practice of making sure you do it. So you do it going forward. But, you know, there's times on these things where it has to happen. And the whole point of these disclosures is so you know what's going to happen before you get into a binding purchase agreement. And so just make sure that you get that stuff done. Yes.
Have sent it to them through Dotloop,
Right.
but they have not signed it yet.
Yeah. So the question is what if you send it to them and they didn't sign it? I mean, you should try to get them to sign it. And if they don't sign it
I mean, they may sign it late, but.
late, but you're saying the date that you gave it to them, they just didn't. I mean, that's kind of your job, right? It's before they sign a purchase agreement, make sure that they get that signed. You know, push for that to be done because that's a state law about when that has to happen. And, you know, if you can't do anything about it and you tried to send it to them, make a note, put it in your file that, hey, send it to them on this date. They didn't send it back until 2 days later or whatever. But yeah, you know, it's kind of our job to make sure that they get it. It's both under state law and the real estate rules and regulations that there's a chapter that says it's your job to make sure. It's not your job to make sure it's right. It's not your job to make sure it has everything in it. Your job is to make sure that they get it and they get it before they enter into a binding contract. That's where your job is. Right. You could make it contingent on they get to review it. If it's impossible to get it or the seller hasn't provided it, you're trying to move quickly, make sure that you just make it contingent on the buyer reviewing it and approving it before they're in a binding contract, because that's what the law is. Just basically, they can't, you know, they're supposed to get it, be able to review it before they've entered into a binding contract. So therefore the disclosures can't come 2 days later because it's too late at that point to raise an objection to it. And what else? We had,
Our new policy, talking about the home inspection. So,
home inspections?
well, that, you and I talked about that escalation clause, home inspection.
Escalation clause, another example of things that we need to read. Not everyone, there's no standard escalation clause in town. Each broker has a different one. Each one has little tweaks to it. And each one, there's one at Keller Williams Elite that's very different from stuff that we use. And that's very important to pay attention to what those things say. And then again, when I say you got to read it, you got to make sure that you're reading it so you know how to apply it. Because if you leave money on the table for your seller because you didn't read this stuff properly and they figure it out, I'm pretty sure we're on the hook for that money that we left on the table. If we could have got more money for our seller if we would have just applied the escalation clauses properly, did the math properly, we potentially breached our duty. That's our negligence at that point. So it's very important to read these things very carefully. And remember, they could give you 30 different escalation clauses. They could be no limit escalation clauses. Easiest way to cut all that off, talk with your seller, come up with a number that they like and just counter back and take yourself out of the escalation clause battle, come up with one number, put that number out, send it to whoever you want and say, here's what we'll sell it for. And if they take it, great. If that, you can move on to the other one. So that's something you got to really pay attention to. Other things that you're seeing on that you're concerned about? Okay. Yeah, please do.
Here and then I just don't talk at home. So I think with that being said, now I lost my train of thought.
Thanks for coming up.
Yes.
I have so much to say.
Okay, so another thing with like, we're seeing right now a lot of first right to purchases. So if you don't understand the first right to purchase, ask about those because yes, your buyer may have got their offer accepted, but if they have a first right to purchase, they have first right. But if another offer comes in, then their time starts for 48 hours or 72 hours that they either have to get their house sold or find other financing. Also, like Scott said, there are other addendums out there.
Right, first refusals. Yeah,
Yes,
that's when
that will say that maybe they've got to match the price of another house or that the house gets to stay on the market until, until closing. And at that time, any offer that comes in, they have to match. So you really have to be diligent on reading and understanding what you're.
Yeah, think about that. You sign a right of first refusal that says, hey, not only can we keep the house on the market, but if we get a better offer, we can come back to you and say, you've got to match this one. Not that you just drop your contingency, but you actually match that new offer. It's like you didn't really buy it. I mean, you're just basically putting it on, putting it out there and you have a right to renegotiate later on. And so read that stuff very, very carefully too.
Going back to the escalation clauses, I remembered now. It took a
Okay.
while. But so if by chance you're gonna counter, just coming back with the purchase price, then do not sign the escalation
Right.
clause addendum and send it back to them. That has now been thrown out and you're just technically countering their offer with a price that's acceptable to your seller.
Yeah,
So,
take yourself out of the escalation
yeah,
clause.
you're
at that
no
point.
longer using the escalation clause. You're just countering that other person's offer and giving them a price. So that way there's no confusion. And if they ask for it, just let them know we didn't use your escalation clause. Of course, it helped us get to a price, but we're just countering your offer at this point and we're not going to use that clause with this.
So if I'm a buyer and I write into my purchase agreement, house must appraise, what do you think that means? Means it must appraise, right?
It gives your
Does
buyer
that
an out.
mean the seller is required to lower the price to the appraisal prices? No, it doesn't. It does not mean that. It's just a right. It's another contingency for the buyer to get out. Basically, it didn't appraise, we have the right to get out. Now, that might lead to renegotiation, but it's not an automatic. The seller does not have to drop down. Seller could say, that's a terrible appraisal, we're not moving forward. They can put it back in the market, sell it to somebody else, maybe get a better appraisal. But that doesn't mean they're locked in. So you got to remember that.
If you're looking for that to happen in your contracts, make sure you're writing in there that if the house doesn't appraise, seller agrees to adjust
drop
purchase
price
price
to-
to the appraised value.
Appraised value.
So there's no discrepancy on what's going to happen in that contract and
Right.
you're covering yourself ahead of time. So
And then you want inspections about
inspections for
informational purposes only. Does anyone know what that means? I still don't know what that means.
It's a very gray area.
It doesn't, it's so open, but we've kind of come to sort of an agreement, I think, in town, that it basically means it still gives that seller the right, or that buyer the right to get out if they don't like the inspection, but it doesn't say that. And so we still get into battles over that, where they say that's not what it says. It says it's for informational purposes only. That doesn't give you the right out. But I mean, and again, write what you mean. If you want to give them the right to get out, reserve that right to get out. If, for informational purposes only. However, if the house is not to the satisfaction of the buyer, they have the right to terminate. Informational purposes only should mean to me that I can't come back to the seller and say, fix this, 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 this. It just basically, I take it or leave it. But that's not as clear as it could be if we just take that next step and be very, very clear.
So depending on who you're representing in the contract, if it's a seller, just state that buyer can do inspections, but would have no right to cancel the contract for any findings found.
Right,
And if you
lock 'em in.
represent the buyer, that they have the right to present the rejection notice. in the
Trevor?
contract.
Things that we do is we just say buyer waives section 18.1.
Yep.
Because that's the section that gives you the honeydew list.
Right.
And then if you want to waive the ability to get out, I think it's the one right after.
And if you want to waive the whole thing, just waive section 18. If you just say for informational purposes only, 18 is waived, then at that point, they're locked in. They don't have a right to get out of it because that entire clause that gave them the right to get out has been removed. Anything else, Heather? I want to make you happy.
Oh, could you give that memo to my husband?
No.
No, I think that's it. Thank you.
When a buyer asks for inspections, you don't have to. I mean, the point is they might come back and say, tell us what inspections you're going to do. Maybe that's the point. You can do the sheet. That sheet's not required. That's not part of the board form. The board form did not create it. Most of the brokers in town created it just so we can better inform our sellers. Here's what you should expect. Seller absolutely has the right to limit what inspections go on at their house. They can say you can only do this, this, and this, but that should be part of the purchase agreement. Right, yeah, so that form itself is not really part of the contract either. It's just supposed to be for informational purposes only. Which means it doesn't mean anything. But I mean, the whole point is like, here's what the seller should expect that we're gonna do. If the seller really wants to limit in the purchase contract, just say, you can only do this, this, and this. And remember, you can shorten up those timelines too. Shorten up the timelines, shorten up everything. Remember, you're gonna shorten up the timelines, shorten up all of them. Because even if you put in there, they have to do all inspections within 3 days. If you go back to the seller still has 14 days to respond. So you want to shorten that all up. Heather, are you good? Are you good? Okay, I don't want to walk out of here. You can call me up later. Is it about wholesalers? Yes.
sent you guys a little posting regarding a legislature bill 49, which is so far one person has responded, which is kind of shameful. This is affect you and your tenants because LB 49 would allow tenants, I don't know who the hell created this, to put solar systems without your permission. Solar panels, okay, which is dumb, but you guys need to respond. There's a link, respond that you are not in approval of this. Very, very important. Share it with your tenants because it might affect, if this thing passes, I don't know what's going to happen. And they have to pay for the panels, but if they do any damage, it's on you. So it's very complicated. I don't know who the hell this senator is that's creating problems like this, solar panels in a rental property. I'm sure they can even pay the rent. How are they going to pay for solar panels? So, okay, that's it.
A good example of that too is what they did with satellite dishes many years ago, where they basically said you're required to allow them to put up the satellite dish. And so you see those all over rental properties where they'll put up their dish, direct TV and then walk away from it. And now you're responsible for moving it and putting it up. But that was a federal law on that one. Where am I? Maggie, KV Core.
Okay, so KV Core, or as we're gonna call it, BHHS Connect. That is the new CRM that is, I'm gonna say, coming soon. We don't have an exact launch date yet, and how this works is they're gonna start onboarding the company within the next couple of weeks. The good news is they already have the data feed from Omaha, Council Bluffs, so we have the data feeds going. So keep in mind, KV Core, it's a smart CRM, so it's automatically going to pick up what your consumers are doing, and it's going to target drip email campaigns based off their behavior. So that's the huge power in that. The idea being there's a mobile app, check the mobile app in the morning. You see that Scott is searching for houses in Florida. And it's going to kind of notify you that that's what's happening. So another couple things with that, they do have the ability to do boosted property ads, squeeze pages. There's a whole robust platform for teams. So if you're a team, there is a team component, and there's also a CMA. So that's a great CMA platform. You can pull out an iPad. It's automatically pulling up property near you. So just know that this is coming. It's coming very soon. The onboarding process, kind of the way it works, they have an agent series of courses that you will take over about an 8-week period, and you'll get access to the platform. So it's a little bit of a different onboarding experience than I think I've ever done before. It's all very automated. You complete one step, you move to the next. But they are very, very good. They are the #1 CRM, I guess, for real estate. I know we have some agents that are currently using them today. So we're looking forward to this. And it's, like I said, it's like right around the corner. So I believe from today until the next sales meeting, we will have started that onboarding process. So watch for email messages coming. We'll try to do videos. I know email gets checked like every single day constantly. But those emails are going to be important. So please try to pay attention to those. And with Jay. Jay asked if it's going to connect with Resource Center or Sage. So Sage is still going to be there and it's not going to go away. So if you are using Sage today and you like Sage, you can stay with Sage. It will have some 1 or 2 times syncs of contacts from Resource Center to KV Core. So the way the BHHS works, there's a platform kind of in the background that syncs data. So that data will sync back and forth 1 to 2 times a day over into your KV Core platform. It will also be fully integrated with our email system. So if you're using the BHHS AMB email, you have the option to synchronize that. You don't have to, but you also have the option to synchronize that as well. So it's very robust. We're very excited about that. The goal, I think, honestly, like, let's get everybody logged in. Let's get people using it. At a bare minimum, put your clients and contacts in there because it's going to start working for you automatically. And then there's a whole bunch of things that you can layer on. So, there are questions? There's going to be a lot of questions. I shouldn't ask. You want me to turn it over to Bill for Good Guy?
Yeah.
Bill Swanson, you want to?
Bill Swanson on behalf of Denise Poppin for the Good Guy Award.
I want to note we have new microphones. I'm very excited about this today. Nobody drop the mic, please. That's an old one. Sorry, Scott.
All right.
This is for Denise. These are her words here. Thank you, Doug, for giving me the Good Girl Award. I wish I could be here to present this, but I'm in Florida being a grandma. The new word, I guess. I would like to present this award to a very special person who refers to me as rock star, champ, and pal, to name a few. This person is always happy, polite, encouraging, upbeat, and quite funny. He is passionate about his job, but mostly his beautiful family. He's been a realtor for 33 years. Amazing. He is on our Care Fund committee as well as serves on a couple OABR committees. You will find him running around the Sunshine Kids event and whenever he is needed to pitch in. I would like to present this Good Guy Award to a rock star champ and a pal himself, and one of my best friends for 30 years, Rich Edwards.
I got nothing, but thank you very much.
Thanks, Rich. All right, I think we're done. So take 13 minutes to think about things. Aaron's happy.